Hi everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening. How are you doing? I hope everyone's fine. I am Pastor Ellison, Amazing Grace Outreach Ministries, the founder and CEO of Dynasty Broadcast Radio. How are you doing, Sharon? Good to have you here. I have so much to thank Yahweh for. I have so many things that He has developed in me, and I want to make sure I share them. I want to make sure I share them and give Him glory, esteem Him high, because I know that all things do work together to them that love Him and called according to His purpose. I know that for my life. How about you? First of all, I want to introduce to you a person that has made a huge impact. Huge impact. Let me turn the music down because I really don't want you to miss this testimony. A few weeks back, I had the honor and privilege of being approached by one of the fantastic developers, co-creator, you name it, he does it. And his name is DAYMOND John. Everyone knows him from ABC's Shark Tank. And when I was approached about changing my life, I had no idea what I was in for. I didn't understand it. I'm always going to put my guards up and not dive into things right away, kind of put them on the shelf or kind of give a blow off. So I did my norm by not really acknowledging the trending that I was starting to see develop in my presence and in the groups that I am associated with. But I did realize that the presence of someone that was bringing help to develop the ministry, to develop the business, and also help develop my character and my personality to help me be strengthened in areas I truly needed to be strengthened. So this evening, I wanted to take time to just give you my testimony about how all of this has benefited me thus far. Also, it also makes me humble because you know how when we want to please the Father, when we want to please Yahweh God, we want Him to be honored, and we don't want to disrespect anything that He's done in our life. We don't want to miss any opportunity to shout praises to His name. Well, this is what I believe. I believe that we should give honor to those among us also. The ones that, they don't have to do, no one has to do anything for you. No one has to care about you. But when the Father uses someone, especially someone that has been proven, tried and true, and very transparent about the life and the experiences, and He's given it to people that will accept it. So that was the first thing as any mentor would do. They want to know, do you want what I'm offering? But let me say that DAYMOND John is not quite like that. He didn't really say, do you want what I'm offering? What he did, he continued to be persistent, and he was enforcing what he saw. The drive was there. He had the drive. And one of the things I can say, when Yahweh is pursuing us and we're pursuing Him, I kind of have an understanding what it is to have a drive to move forward on something. So at some point, I had to acknowledge His presence and recognize what impact was going to be for me to just be challenged. That's love to me. That's love. When people love you enough to challenge you and they don't go along with you and let you remain in the same old broken place. He didn't want to see the water continue run without fixing the faucet. That's kind of my analogy. But let me tell you about the book that he's written. It's called POWERSHIFT. POWERSHIFT is now available. POWERSHIFT has already become a bestseller. It transforms any situation, it closes any deal, any negotiation, and it achieves a very good outcome. It builds relationships that last. What I learned already is so many things that's going through my heart and mind about what I take note. I'm the type of person that analyze a lot of things and maybe take it all the way and stretch it to the extreme, then bring it back in and see what's left of it. Well, as I got to know about POWERSHIFT that had just come out, I learned 3 points. I learned influence, negotiation, and relationship. You tell me the Bible doesn't speak about all of those particular opportunities. Having influence, as the book states, it's a way that we have a reputation by having influenced an impression. But that impression has to have the reputation to highlight what we stand for. And that has to continue to stay in place. That's not something we flop and flip for everyone that comes. As you know, the ones that have been on our platforms for a while, we have 9 different types of business opportunities. And they all have a character, and they all offer something for our character that can help us build a foundation. So I take the influence part as being when someone trusts you with their business to make decisions, or they trust you with their children to babysit, on that level also. So the reputation you had before you were able to get to influence and impress had to be stable, and it had to be solid, and it had to be permanent, where it's growing you. You can change and grow, but your reputation was being able to fortitude who you were, and people were able and comfortable to trust you. So when he talked about that, I could relate to that. Sometimes I don't have a need to put it in words because I have plenty of businesses waiting for me to offer them something, which again went to another webinar, and most of the technique and principles was to believe, it was to be able to affirm. So when I got the opportunity to see that this was another way that the Father was letting me know that it was time to test and go through the trials and challenges to see how well, I would feed out with what I have been thinking I was establishing. It's almost like eat the meat and throw away the bone at this point in time. POWERSHIFT also has answers for people like myself that know that they are talented but have not transformed to the situations appropriately to monetize them. I think a lot of you know that I've been at the grind on social media, have built quite a few different platforms. But now it's time to stabilize the platforms, it's time to funnel them into structure, and it's time to close the deal and achieve an outcome. It's time to see what it's really made of. And POWERSHIFT is a book that I would highly recommend. And it's available, right now for $19.35. They have it on Amazon. I haven't gotten my copy, but I will be getting a copy of POWERSHIFT. It's an excellent read. I read just maybe the description of some of the fundamentals that it's made from, and it's people of all walks of life are giving it just raving reviews. A good book. This is the first time that you've ever known me to take time to use a business experience to be a testimony. So already that's new. Normally I get scripture and we talk about scripture and we listen to music, but I feel so encouraged to talk about what I love and what I would want to develop to do and be for the company that I'm building. So here goes. When I described and read what they described the book as, I had to say yes, yes, yes. because there's nothing about PowerShift that I do not agree with. I agree that it enforces a reality in your life. 7 figures is a great reality to get reinforced. And so when you have wanting to do something to change your life and you didn't know where to start, that's who you want to go to. You want to go to someone with the experience that DAYMOND John has lived out. And he's so free-hearted. I mean, I've not ever met, truthfully, I've not ever met a person that's a multimillionaire pouring out and giving as freely as I have received, and many, 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 many other people are receiving from this fountain of wealth and truth with wealth. So, you know, and then to see the relationships that he has developed. Every day you get up and they're just like him. I mean, it's like an ongoing faucet that's running and flowing in the vein of being fresh water for someone every day. And I believe that this man of God is truly a minister, an example of business being treated with the same royalty and priesthood as any other part of his life. One of the things that touched my heart is a few days ago, and I'm a very, very analytical. I must say that's at a fault. But to have someone enter your life and invite you to take a closer look, and you don't have to be like a fan to him. That's a little bit different from some of the other people that I have on my platform. They are celebrities, and they keep their distance. They're not going to be personable. They're not going to, invite you into any space that gives you a different view of them from their professional or their expertise. But this gentleman introduced his daughter on her birthday. And I do news reporting, so I'm a person that documents in events, and I kind of do always have in the back of my mind what's next. I met his daughter, and he gave us opportunity to celebrate his daughter's birthday. Some of the weekend trips that the family takes, he's not putting his life totally on public display, but in a certain sense, he's helping people like myself really see the inside of the lifestyle maybe that I plan to live in the very near future, which is no different, really. It's just the fact that the management of your life is what tells the story. So the best-selling author and the star of ABC Shark Tank, he reveals how the master of 3 prongs, which I introduced earlier at the beginning, was to influence, reputation, negotiation, and the last but not least is to make sure that we establish really strong, permanent, lasting relationships. And so the influence, as I said, was the impression that people may have of you, but more than impression, because you can be moody and you can change, but the shift in the power shift is the fact that you're developing a reputation that highlights what you stand for. And that's a big one for me. That's a big one for me, because every person, and I think Sharon, you have been with me for a while, and I really appreciate you. I don't see any other names on my feed, but some of you have been with me and you've seen some of the growth, and transparent as can be, you've seen some of the bad moments, some of the good moments, some of the exciting moments, and I just feel that some of you are waiting for the next move that will happen with Amazing Grace Outreach. Hope of Glory I don't speak of very much, because that's a prayer and praise ministry. It kind of speaks for itself. The people that are on there, some of them have been on Hope of Glory since 2011. And I pray that the reputation and the character of that prayer group where pastors have been actually born out of that group. Many, many other ministry works have come from that group. And then there's other people that might have been a part of Face2Face when it was birthed out as a radio program. And it became now Dynamic Dynasty, which is a radio station that we are working on and building. So some of the things that I believe that helps me really resonate with Mr. John is the fact that I have a blueprint. You know, he could see the timing of some of the things that's been set up. They've been set up for a long time, and they've been maintained. And that part, I'm very honored and thankful. I don't feel inadequate on knowing that I have been grinding. I love hearing them say that. I have been grinding to pursue and have the things that I know the Father has given me to be very guarded about it. So I don't jump on everybody's bandwagon. And I certainly didn't want to find myself jumping on the bandwagon of someone that's famous, was a star, was rich. I didn't want to seem like I was, frivolous like that. I didn't want to appear like I'm waiting, wholeheartedly for someone rich to rescue me. But he doesn't bring you that kind of, he doesn't even have that in his psyche. He's truly a fisherman of men, people of God, and business people. He's a man that he has delegated so many entities. He's so able to say to anyone he meets, what do you have for me? Where can I begin with you? It's like it's the same analogy as when we go to Yahweh. We can crawl up in his arms, in his bosom, and we can rest in his bosom because he's already formulated his word for us to be able to live by. And so in the earth, I'm finally meeting a person that has been very careful with their life, the same way I want to continue to be with mine, to make sure when he does present himself, he does have something to give. And the first step that I'm learning very well about getting the 7-figure together is to make sure you have enough giveaways. I've always been a giver. Now I know that I need to funnel that in the way of technology so that I'll have a giveaway. He's been giving and giving. I'm telling you, he doesn't stop giving. He asks for nothing. He asks for nothing. To me, giving wisdom, giving direction, and being there. I was very amazed that anywhere I went on the internet, he was there. But when I met him, he was on LinkedIn. He wasn't really on Facebook. He wasn't really on Instagram. He was there, but I didn't know of him. I would dare not go and just start, picking names and becoming friends with anyone, because I just don't do that. Most times the people that I'm working with will come in my view, and then I may be able to accept or reach out to them. But as he has this set up, the negotiation part, the influence is definitely something I've got, and the reputation and the branding, I might add, is another part of the overall seal, like sealing the reputation. You'll know them by their fruit. Amen. So the negotiation is something I believe he's going to work with me and train me on how to negotiate, verbally negotiate, instead of just having a service and assume that because the service is up and running that someone will have the opportunity to take advantage. Everything he's doing, there's a system and technology that will be taught. I haven't started my training, but I'm sharing this with you. Hopefully that I can get some of you that are on different missions of your own to let your blueprint, whatever the Father is working with you through, become something that we can join and affiliate so we can strengthen each other. We can share what I learned from him already. I'm so overwhelmed how much I always want to talk about and remind myself that I'm under the guidance now of someone that can kind of etch my journey along and give me the push and the force that I really need. You know, sometimes we don't tell people we need anything, and they get the impression like, oh, she's well to do it by herself. But no, truthfully, I'm not well to do it alone. And that's not the intent of the Father for any of us anyway. So make a deal and horn the win-win negotiation style. I'm working on that right now, understanding what a win-win negotiation style looks like for me. The relationship, this is another thing that he said in prior times before I knew about POWERSHIFT. He kept on saying the relationship is last, but it's not least. Because it's important that maybe you're in a different season of negotiations, but that relationship has to still be fed. You can, and that's one of the things I'm telling you right now. When I started realizing how the platforms were growing, I did have concern on how am I going to begin to communicate appropriately and efficiently with the people that are coming on my platform. Well, guess what? POWERSHIFT is going to train me on how to do that. Relationships make a connection. First of all, you connect and you build on that and you make that last. Because you did a negotiation, closed a deal, you don't throw it away. You want to continue to build. You want to be able to strengthen and enforce the fact that you have crossed into a partnership of business. And that's what I'm really excited to see happen. Before 2021 has gone, I expect to be able to see some of the relationships where I have record labels now, and I see gradual change happening all over the place. Today I was tickled pink, I have to say it, because it's like a new toy to play with. Some of our record labels, they send us music to play on the new radio station, and we have had a few months, I say in the course of about 6 months, we have had opportunity to conversate, and they recognize that I've shifted from just promoting and just getting involved with people to make sure they network with the right people to a place of really wanting to do commercials. So one of the record labels sent me a message and say, okay, are you at the stage where you're ready to do interviews? Because they're waiting for me to get formulated where they can send me some of the music artists to start doing interviews. Also, on that note, something else happened the other day, which I'd been invited to go on webinars to meet the cast of some of the OWN TV by Oprah Winfrey, to meet some of the cast for some of their TV shows, which one I just went on the other day, which was Queen Sugar. I went on that to meet the cast and meet the directors and everything. And yesterday I went on to meet Delilah on the OWN TV. So what I see happening is pretty much we are a new horizon right now, and we're fitting in what Yahweh has in this time and season. And some of us truly have been being prepared for the exodus from one situation that may not have been the best situation to become the strength of your next situation. So that's what I see with Damon John. He's here on assignment, and I so respect and honor. I mean, it's like really a shift, a power shift is, for my definition, is to be in the holies of holies. And let me tell you, the responsibility is way greater, but supernaturally it's more impactful, because everything that I am is from I am. He has begun to trust and delegate some things in my life that I've always believed it, but my time had not come. My time is here now. And it ends up that you love what you do so much. You live, breathe for every day. And every day that he gives you to wake up and open your eyes and have your right mind to function, you want to do it again and again and again. There's souls I've baptized, there's weddings I performed, there everything you can name as a minister, I've had the pleasure of seeing fruit from it. Now, one of the things I've not ever seen the magnitude of intensity and grandness of his power is to have people of great influence to come in my life. And I feel as a child, I feel like a child that, the security to help other people. It's one sad thing when you want to help people and you have nothing to offer them. And I mean, you have some things that are the value of wisdom, and you have all of those kind of things, and you've been guarding your heart, and you've been, being disciplined in different areas. But to really have access to true wealth is one of the final things I've been teaching. Sharon, I don't know if you remember ever hearing me say that, but the Bible tells us that he gives us the power in our hands to get wealth. But he's given us opportunity for this wealth is to be a giver. He is a giver. His love is about giving, unconditional, never, taking time to measure out to see, because you have, not to have you run around to look at Mr. John's platforms, but he has videos. It's just a continuum of showing, the vast amount of ambiance that he lives by. He goes to certain places that he does his Twitter tweets, and I'm just saying the things that I'm seeing and the way that he lets you see a lifestyle that would benefit and heal the world. Truthfully, and I believe a lot of millionaires and billionaires are reaching in their heart, and they're coming for the ones that are ready. And the reason they're doing that because they're reproducing themselves. The things that I dreamed about when I was young, a young girl, is really happening. I found myself today, I don't want to keep you long, but I have about 3 or 4 more minutes. I found myself today going to an all-casting company to register. I always saw myself as a young girl standing out on a platform. The way our house was made when I was a little girl, it had like a little step up, and then you had a platform. And I would stand there, and I would go and get my neighbors' beautiful dresses, and I played Hollywood. I played makeup, and just all the girly stuff like that. I play like I could sing and all that. Well, guess what? I'm at a plateau now where some of those things are being realized. I got through sharing today with our bishop, letting him know that when people are authentic, it does not mean they do everything perfect. But what it does help them in is that we understand that Yahweh's promises are yea and amen. And they have not been broken by the systems of this world. If they could have only gasped that in 2019, maybe if they had gasped some of these things, the falling away that's falling away right now in the midst of the believers, they would have grasped that there's nothing missing and nothing broken. So the world can't seep in and entangle his weave and cunningness in the fibers of who we are as a people. And I hear people saying about the church, I want to say to you and encourage you, the church is alive. The bride is alive, and she's beautiful, and she's doing well. So if we engage in a concept of devils and demons, we're really entertaining our own mind And that's the way we're thinking. Got to break that off. The fear, Damon said to me, what is holding you back? You got to get these real questions. But you got to have people that don't mean you no harm. They're not trying to make you vulnerable so they can snare you. There is a difference. And, the thing is, he's got a track record of so many people. And he's not easy. He's not easy on you. He really expects you to earn what it is. He wants you to go to your highest level of achievement. He's not playing the giveaway person in terms of giving you something for nothing. He wants you to earn it. And you want to earn it because you have the door open. We talk about the land of milk and honey, but you have the door open for once in your life. Now, guess what? This is what I want to finish with. I got a couple of more minutes. I want to finish and tell you, not only this one particular person has enhanced an opportunity for my life to make a shift, a power shift, but I have many others. It's almost like they're harmonizing. They're here. One has maybe one thing they're working on. When I was asked to do something and I kind of froze, he said, okay, well, I see you're not interested. But he recognized that there must have been something that I was fearing. Maybe it was too much of reality of something I have in my heart. So you have to go and examine your heart sometime, the condition. You might have thought you wanted it, and when it comes for it to happen, you get a little bit discombobulated because you can't hardly believe that these beautiful, wonderful, great gifts are falling into your life, coming to overtake you. I love that. Enemy comes to take you in a fault and be an accuser. Well, why can't Yahweh come and take you in the blessings and the goodness of his mercy and build you up? He can do that. So what Damon did, he got a personal coach to put in my path. I mean, I found that he's analyzing things that are so, it's like going in a garden, picking the flowers and putting the bouquet together. Now that's, as I said, that's one person I wanted to feature tonight. But believe me, you all know that Dr. Sapp has been our anchor from the humble beginnings. When I started coming on Facebook and bringing the program for face-to-face, support was there for me with that. So when you have so much being invested in your life, not personally to you, but whatever it is that has given you this horizon in the body, people want you in place. They need you to be in place. And I say that to you as well. Those of you that have been with me, it's time to get in complete place and be committed. Be the negotiator. Be the influencer. Let your reputation speak for itself. And most of all, let us build our relationships on a good foundation where they last. And we can talk and be transparent. We can be respectful to one another. And we can also respect the authority that's been set over us. See, a mentor in my day of growing up, a mentor wasn't someone that was really personal in your life. But Mr. John has shown me so many levels. He's sort of like whatever level of mentorship or challenge you need or you're ready for, he has it available to you. Oh my goodness. I was like, oh my. And I don't think I don't already know these things. Of course I know these things. But doing them is a whole different ball game. This is the last part. There were people, just to let you know how popular PowerShift is, there were people that gave their input. Chris Jenner on determining your value. So PowerShift helps you determine your value. And you get to call your value. You know, you get to become the expert. And so you don't have to go ask somebody else for permission. See, that was a cliffhanger for me, Because sometimes we do. We're waiting for somebody to tell us who we are when we already know who we are, but we have not taken the intuitive to stand up and become the mastering of what we are. And that's why this whole fix me. I feel like I'm being put through a transformation. And it definitely starts in the heart. It starts in every day. It's a habit of wanting to have that value to shine and be a light before men, that they'll glorify the Father. So you don't have to have permission anymore. And now you have the power to be able to stick to your guns and demand your worth. That's what I believe Damon John showed up. He was like, oh no, it looks suspicious when you just giving people stuff for no, and they have not recognized the value that you're bringing until they hear the ching ching and recognize that they're making money. They're going to keep coming back, but they're not going to come back to celebrate that you were a part of it. You won't get to benefit from that unless you, what does he say? Stick to your gun. So I'm being taught that part of being a business person is to stick to your guns and let people help me grow the way I would need to grow to really magnify the truth about who Yahweh is. He doesn't want, he's the only one that gives more than we can give, but he doesn't want us to feel that we're him. Sometimes you can get a little bit prideful when you constantly give and nobody's giving. That's imbalance. And that's how you got so many times prophets that were really good prophets and they were good seers, but then they got taken for granted that one time, 2 minutes. And then when they got taken for granted, they turned into something different and they started, compromising. And that's what I wanted to share tonight. I just wanted to make sure you guys know that I love you. And I cry a lot right now. I cry because I'm overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed that in all of the things that people, all the lies the enemy tries to tell all of us about who our God is. But I can tell you one thing. It has been a phenomenal last 3 years. None of the things the enemy has been trying to, really flip anything to a new normal in my life. My norm is Yahweh. It's going to always be Yahweh. It's never going to be a new norm because of what civilization or society is doing. That's not the power of Yahweh. That's not his power. And I don't plan on compromising what he wants me to stand for. And that's why I said the principles that Mr. John is teaching is very solid and very firm. But keep in mind, the balance is the fact that he has been empowered to be in the position he's in. He commands that respect. He commands the changes that he's able to help people make. And he knows how to go so far. And then you got to take the steps to walk in it yourself. I feel like I'm becoming him. I used to say that about pastors. You could tell someone that loves Yahweh how much they care for the leader that's over them. They start sounding like the leader. They pretty much speak the same thing the leader is speaking. That's the humility and the brokenness of how Yahweh is retapestering your life. He's becoming the potter and you're really becoming the clay in his hand. But you're not afraid to be the clay this time. The reason you're not afraid to be the clay is because you understand the potter's will be done. You understand you're going to be better for whatever you're enduring. And one of the other things, I can't even stop saying enough about what I'm experiencing. That word failure. I mean, and it's not like I'm really sitting in any real time with Mr. John, but he has so much laid out in my atmosphere that whatever, he has is just dripping, constantly dripping. And that's one thing I noticed that some of the constituents that he's put us in the training course of entrepreneurs, they always talk about what are your failures, what you didn't do right, What did you learn from what you didn't do right? And that's worth another shout, because it's a lot of things we get frozen on because we don't want to be wrong. We don't want to be failures. But failing to win is almost, it's like you've gotten that out of the way. Win-win with your negotiations. Know who you're negotiating with. Don't go and try to negotiate with someone you already know they don't have good intent for you. So one more of the people was someone I believe that he works closely with, Mike Cuban, on finding an understanding of your why. That was another thing he introduced to me, is my why. You know, my ask and my why and my giveaway, those three things. And I went to some other conferences since I met him. Black CEO, I went to that conference for a week. Phenomenal. It was just reinforcing all the things that I'm taking a second look at. So Mr. Cuban says, time is the only asset we don't own. We can't buy and we can never go back. Now you tell me, that's a push right there. That is a power shift push. We can't go back. Time we don't own. The pit bull on tapping into your inner power. Mr. Damon kind of mentioned that to me in an email about the inner power. A lot of people feel that to be powerful is to exude strength. I think it's the total opposite. To be powerful is to be powerless. Now that's a Bible principle. You all know Isaiah 40. Now this is what I have to do with him. When he's speaking, I turn what he says into the word of Yahweh, so that I know we're on agreement. Because if this is ever true, he says you must be with no might, and you must be weak, and he'll make you strong. Because he can't do nothing if you bring in your own opinion. You got your own sauce for everything. And that's what I find, that he brings a gentleman into the lives of many people to exude the strength, but in weakness, to make himself vulnerable. You know, like we talk, he has this word bulldog. Some people are just like that. And you'll be trampled on because they don't care about you. They just want what you have to offer. And you know, I've been there. I understand that real clear. I mean, I've had people promise things, and I don't like to put people in any position to have them promising something because they feel like they can negotiate me to always move in their favor. I don't like to be put in that situation, and neither do I want to put anyone in that situation. So I've given the whole catch up to everyone about what's happening with me. You may not see me posting or being a part of sitting on your different invitations like I used to. I used to have time to come on Sundays to people's church services and anything they invite me. But right now I'm taking the opportunity to work on myself, to establish, and I don't have a clue. I don't want to predict anything before it's time, but I do say I feel that I'm under very good business leadership. I'm learning about marketing. I'm learning about funnel. I'm learning about pitch. I'm learning about scale. And this sounds elementary to most people because they already know this stuff. Can you believe I started a business with no knowledge of anything about anything? I was actually doing it to just help people. That's what I saw. I say, well, you know, it's a lot of people lost their jobs, and they're trying to scramble and put things together. And I have the privilege to be home, and I have command of my time because Yahweh has set me apart to have my time to do what he wants me to do. So that's one of the things that I really appreciate, that he's now wanting me to use his time for a higher horizon. And Dynamic Dynasty radio broadcast is that new exodus. It's the place where people bring their blueprint of their invested time and talent and expertise. We have commercials, we have slots to have you do a cooking show or whatever creativity your mind brings forth. You're so welcome to come on our platforms. You're so welcome to sponsor a show that may be from another platform. So we have so many workable opportunities. I'm not going to say anything else. I'm going to give Mr. John's name a rest for the night. But POWERSHIFT, do me a favor, because that's one way that I know that I can't stock my Facebook shop with a lot of his books. I don't have the financial means to do that, but I can ask my friends and my co-laborers and some of the people that are my clients that they would seed into this particular man products. He has many books, but right now POWERSHIFT is where I came in, and I would love for him to see that I put an effort to encourage that. I have 1,000 people. If 1,000 people would purchase that book and do it because you care about me, care about the movement. I can't pay him money for his services, but I can ask the people that trust the reputation that I have and the platform that I have to seed into his work, because his work is definitely beneficial. And that's why I take time right now to share what I've experienced. It's maybe not, very clean cut and very, polished up the way some people do it, but it will get better. Believe me, it will get better. I will be able to really show my gratitude through the result and the fruit. So I'm asking you to trust in Yahweh. Go to Amazon and please come back and let me know that you have purchased POWERSHIFT so that he will know, and give him a recommendation, because I'm a living proof of what Yahweh's time, God's time, is being used for in my life through him, and not, like I said, it's been maybe a good month or two. I've not even purchased the book yet. I'm hoping to win a copy, a signed copy, because we're supposed to send him a video reading out of the book, just a little sample of what we like about the book, and he'll give us a signed copy, the ones that's in his mentorship program. So again, that's another goal I have, is to maybe win a book. We'll continue to support him in digital media platforms, but I would love to see him see that my influence in the audiences that I have are effective. That's one good sign that we're making some progress. Would you help me make that progress by getting a copy? And even if you wanted it autographed, I would definitely ask him to make sure that it's autographed for you, if you would take the time to give a recommendation and purchase POWERSHIFT by DAYMOND John. Thank you so much this evening. And of course, that this is my first book that I authored, Lola and Louise. This too is my first time being an author, and I'm authoring with a neighbor that helped me get the picture book together, again on Amazon. Some of you have already bought your copy. I really appreciate it. But this is a book about friendship from different cultures and backgrounds. And as you can see in this book, that's me and my neighbor as little girls. We are, of course, taking this story and bringing it to be women and the things that we went through. So we actually have a potential a sequel book, a big book that we're going to be producing. So those kind of things is why Mr. John is so important to me, because I want to do a sensory therapy for children that have been abused. I have so many cost-effective and visions to bring humanity to a place of not empathy. So many people want to give empathy with no true commitment to the care. I really want to not just build platforms and not have some results that go with the scriptures. As you know, if you go on my platforms, there are scriptures with almost everything that I have on there. And those scriptures come from the heart. They are things that I believe are seeds for growth in the natural and in the spiritual. And so I appreciate you. And if you want to volunteer to help build, we got four platforms that don't even have 500 people on it. Those are pretty much our new platforms. But the older ones have at least 2,000. I have like 3 that have 2,000 people. But I'd love to have one platform with maybe 50,000 people. And that's probably going to come as a result of the marketing training that I'm going to be getting from Mr. John, and also the help I get from Dr. Sapp, and the help I get from many other record labels. By the way, let me give RCA Inspiration a shout out. That record company sends us Friday night music artists that are already celebrities. Also, we have Motown. Motown sends us an opportunity to promote the history of many of the artists. And we have tons of other resources. And I say resources because these people have come together to surround us. And we're in a time when we need these reinforcements. It's not even about the bottom line money. It's about the fact that to survive, we need one another. In closing, I want to say, peace be upon you and your household. And I'm going to use this moment. I have a few more seconds before it's the hour. Threshing floor for the Father. This is where we meet, on the threshing floor, with all the gifts and all the callings. The threshing floor, that is where our prayer life has begun to really formulate. It is a great privilege for me to understand how to teach the word and deal with the children on the threshing floor, encouraging them to be impactful, encouraging the children to immeasurably reach out, go beyond the call of duty, loving kindness in your heart. There are so many times generations of Christians who think they are owed a life prosperity and well-being. Since we've been talking about that for almost 45 minutes, that's where I wanted to close. No one owes you anything, and entitlement is truly a behavior we want to break. We're not entitled to anything. If we breathe every day, He's done enough. Hallelujah. And so the well-being, and refuse to admit the difficulties and the troubles that are coming their way. They kind of put on a form of godliness and denying the power. And we know that God causes all things to work together for good to those who love Him and called according to His purpose. As a personal passage for me right now, that's what's happening. Personal. And the quest of the average American Christian life, the liberty and pursuit of happiness, doesn't always talk about suffering. It doesn't talk about failure. It doesn't talk about falling away. Now we're getting down to the nuts and bolts that the threshing floor to God brings into focus in a powerful way, the dealing of God with His own people. Now we're their people. He's dealing with us in the way He deals with us. But what we are doing is recognizing His power, and He's demonstrating His power through us. The threshing floor. I'm going to read the scripture, then I'm going to close, because I don't want to keep you any longer than the full hour. Hallelujah. Father, we thank and praise You that You've given us this wonderful time to express the things that we're grateful for, but also accept the challenges of change that will always come. Now if anyone builds on the foundation with gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, straw, even the work will become manifest. For the day will declare it, because it will be revealed by fire, and the fire will test each one's work of what sort it is. If anyone's work which he has built on can endure, he will receive a reward. If anyone's work is burned, he will suffer loss. But he himself will be saved, yet as though fire. 1 Corinthians 3:12 is the scripture I've shared with you, and I pray that you will understand that the value that can be measured by the work that you put in. And also, the people that come, they're not coming just because they have nothing to do. They're coming because the sent one, how shall they hear unless a sent one come? Everybody could have been speaking the same language all the time, but it wasn't ever interpreted or accepted until the one that could speak it in the clarity of the power of Yahweh God. Be blessed, and thank you for being here. Thank you, Sharon, for being with me this evening. I really appreciate you. You've been a great help inviting people on the platform, and many of you, I want to shout out to Melvin Andrew. I believe that's his name. He actually sent probably over 15 people to come on the platform. See, we don't want people to just come and be there. We want to make sure we're meeting the needs. So if you're part of any platforms that we have and you feel led to get on a chat, matter of fact, I've started putting chat spaces on some of the pages so that we can interact and decide the direction on how to continue to build the page. So I encourage you to share this message. Please go out and get the book. I'm going to post it on this feed about Damon John's book, POWERSHIFT. I would love to get a report, a good report, that those that have been able to enjoy or even been able to have your advertisement done with us free of charge, would you please seed into the life and the ministry and business of Mr. Johns. He's been such a phenomenal part of the next new thing that's going to happen with Amazing Grace, and the fellowship is going to increase. We're going to find ourselves, as time permit, having a physical, beautiful, beautiful celebration. Blessings to you.